Taking some time here to think about the death mechanics in Star Citizen as I check out the Cutlass Red and the PTU right now. Really taking some time to let the Cutlass Red sink in. Loving the mechanics, loving the beds inside, the information that I released a few days back about the ICU beds being spawn points and how these beds eventually will change the game. How we'll be able to spawn in at these points, and how the mechanics of the medical field are going to fit into combat. Field medics being able to drag comrades into your Cutlass Red to get into these ICU beds to help them heal. I really think about it. I harken back to the days when I read Death of a Spaceman. I'll put the link down in the description below. And I think about these mechanics and how important it is that they stay focused, how Cloud Imperium stays focused on the original narrative of just how the death mechanic's going to work. And let me talk a bit about that for those that don't understand what's going to happen or what's planned to be the death mechanic moving forward. And that is, when you die, you essentially will over all your goods, or as many as you can, to your next character. So you will create another character. You can make that character your son, an uncle, anybody that's like a family kind of relative or relation, and then essentially make a new character. Those items will go to the new character, and thus you have a new character, a new life, a new story. I love that idea. I think that's such a great idea when it was the initial concept. And I think Death of a Spaceman is fairly old. It's 2013. But I don't see Cloud Imperium changing the narrative, so that's great. And I really want to see that move forward, that when you get damaged too much damage, that your body cannot continue on and then you die. Some people would think this would be like really dramatic to initiate this type of death mechanic. Like, imagine you create your character, you go out, you blow up right away. Oh man, you gotta go through the process to create the new character and will over all your assets over there. That again is speculation as far as the assets, how that's going to work out. But according to the discussion that was had many moons ago, that these assets would then pass on to your next character, and there might be some type of tax, so that you're not getting all your assets transferred over in the game once the game is released. And some people would think this is dramatic, that oh my gosh, this is going to be way too intensive, way too involved. But I really think it's going to make people think about their actions in the game. If they keep to this narrative, and I hope they do. Some people think this is a very hardcore gameplay dynamic if we institute this Death of a Spaceman, where every time you are basically dead, that you're out there, you're either abandoned in space, nobody can rescue you, somebody can't get to you in time, you get too many limbs blown off, and eventually the cybernetics can't recover you, that you die. Some people say that's too hardcore of a gameplay, but I really think that if this is kept, this original concept, that more people will think about their actions in the game. And I love that. I think that's so great. And while I fly this Cutlass Red, and I'm getting the feels of it, and I know the information that I know currently about how the ICU beds are spawn points, and the mechanics aren't quite there yet as far as like how you're going to heal the characters, or the gamers, the players that are playing the game. The mechanics aren't quite in there yet. I harken back to this Death of a Spaceman, this narrative of the death mechanic, and it really makes me feel like the way that they're going to stay true to this narrative. I hope they do. I really hope they do, because I believe that this way in which you die and you create another character will, in essence, make people think about their actions in the game. All from the PvPer to the PvEer, no matter what style of gameplay you like, you're going to think about that trip going to the next system over, going to Pyro. You know, like maybe I don't want to make that trip. Maybe something might happen that's bad. Maybe I run into some pirates. Maybe I'm gonna die. Some people will love that rush of adrenaline that they get when they make these decisions and think to themselves, "Wow, you know, I might die." Other people might see it as an obstacle, a roadblock. So I wanted to put that out there because I'm curious about what you think. I want to hear what you have to say as far as, do you think this initial concept back in 2013 of Death of a Spaceman, in which you are essentially a life and it is fragile, you could die instantly, something bad could happen to you right away, or slowly watch as your limbs get blown off and there's just nothing left to replace. Like, I'm curious as to what you think about this process, if you like this, if you think that this is feasible, if this is a good game mechanic, this death mechanic, and if you think that Cloud Imperium is going to stick to this narrative. When I fly the Cutlass Red, I feel like if they didn't do it, that it would make the Cutlass Red and other ships like the Apollo, other medic-based ships, it would make them shallow, or like it wouldn't feel as important. Having a Cutlass Red wouldn't feel as important. Having an Apollo wouldn't feel as important. Being a medic even wouldn't feel as important. So I think I really think that this talk right now about this death mechanic is very relative to moving forward and what we're going to see out of the gameplay when it comes to the medic type style gameplay. And I see that Cloud Imperium is taking some time and resources to think about this as well, just based off of some of the information I had released last week about these ICU beds and spawn points. Having them is going to be very important to a fleet, especially in a large confrontation. Having spawn points close to you, having units be able to use you as a spawn point for as long as you're in the game is essential. But then it makes me think about, well, wait a second, you know, as far as the spawn point's concerned, is this excluding the death mechanic? Is this just, you know, is just this for now? Is this going to be, you know, after the game is released? Perhaps this was already answered. I'm not quite sure. I just like to talk about these issues, but I would love to see what you all have to say about it down below. I love the look of the Cutlass Red. I feel like it's different. I really feel like it's not just the same Cutlass as I walk around in it. And I love the search beam on top, this high search beam. When you're in the co-pilot seat, you actually have the ability to direct this high beam light that's on the top, that normally on a Cutlass Black would be the turret section where the guns are at. In the Red, when you have this ability in the co-pilot seat to be like the engineer, to be the field medic as you were and search for people that need you. It is a very cool game mechanic that I think will only get deeper as the game progresses forward, as the design of the Cutlass Red continues forward. The side doors don't work right now. The beds don't really work as intended right now. You can sit in them, you can lay in them. You see the graphics that will eventually be there, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the Cutlass Red develop, the design of it develop. I like the aft end of the Cutlass Red, that it has a airlock type mechanism when you open the first initial door, and then there's like an airlock procedure that then goes into the medical section of the main body of the Cutlass Red. They did a wonderful job in repurposing this ship, and they give it a new feel. It feels like an ambulance kind of unit. It definitely feels like a medical vehicle. And to have all this fly time with the Cutlass Black and then switch to the Cutlass Red, it was a nice changeover, because I felt like they were going to feel identical. But even flying it slightly, to me, feels like it has a slightly different feel to the Cutlass Red over the Cutlass Black. And I'm not quite sure if I was going to focus on the medical field, if I would get the Cutlass Red or the Apollo. And I'm not quite sure because the Apollo, really, I haven't gotten the chance to, nobody has, to fly it yet. But it would be fun to compare the two. And I think I almost would probably go the Apollo, but I think the Cutlass Red is a good redesign, a repurposing. And they did a good job. Cloud Imperium really did a good job. So just a couple things I'm thinking as I'm in the PTU flying the Cutlass Red. It's nice to be able to have the time to fly around, and I'm having a good time with the game. Other than the fact that it disconnects a lot more frequently in 3.8 and 3.8.1. And I'm really looking forward to 3.9. So let me know what you think down in the comments below. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I will see you on the next vid. Today's video has been brought to you by the generous patrons of DG360 who make continued content possible. DG360 patrons enjoy monthly giveaways like Star Citizen packages, Steam gift cards, and any game that you want giveaways. Please consider donating $1 if in any way you enjoy DG360 content. And these difficult times where independent content creation is under attack from the FTC and left to die by YouTube, it's nice to know that I'm appreciated. Thank you.